Yep. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting. I'm gonna make sure this is actually activated because there's only that little bit of a delay, but looks like we're going strong. Hi, well, so hello to the webcam. I hope you're seeing this. Yeah, it looks like it's going through good. Alright, so I finally got it set up. I'm finally gonna try and start doing this more often. I mean, you see my face with everything else I do. You might as well see it now. Hope you love it. I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't. But welcome to the live stream. It's been a while. I stopped last time because I got really sick and it really affected my throat. When I was doing editing, like I still made some videos after I got a little bit better because my throat was like recovered. Like like I could edit out like the worst hacking fits that I would have, so you didn't have to suffer too much for it. But yeah, obviously I couldn't really do live streaming because that was going to be a bit of a problem. But, hey, well, welcome here. Hopefully some of you show up, and anyone who sees this in post, I mean, by all means, love to have you then. If you hop into the chat and talk to me a little bit, I'll be keeping an eye on it. Love to talk to you about some anime tonight, because I'm going to talk a little bit about, I don't know, I talk about visual novels, I do lots of visual novel content, but the thing is that oftentimes people who like visual novels started by coming across anime. And maybe in Japan it might be a little bit different, because I could see visual novels being a lot more promoted, like, in general, so you might just see a trailer for a game that looks really cool, like maybe Science Gate back in the day, and you're like, oh cool, I'll grab that. Oh, it's a visual novel, what's this? You know, maybe in Japan it would be a bit more like that, but in the United States, it just typically doesn't happen. So a lot of us started with anime, including me. So we're going to go over a little bit about the anime I've started watching this season, what ones I'm excited about, what ones I'm not so excited about, and maybe hear some of your suggestions. But you might wonder, hey, what's this about? Channel art update? What? Well, that's the big announcement I have for tonight. Kicking off our live streams again. I am ready, willing, and able to finally commission some more art for the channel. Specifically, hopefully some high detail art. And that's really what I need your help with. So in the description of the video, it should be there. There should be a link to a survey. That's actually what I'm pulled up right here. It's just a quick little survey. Literally scroll down, boom, it's over. Hardest part's at the bottom, and that's not even required. It's just asking for opinions where you can type some stuff out specifically, and then, you know, give some feedback back to maybe an idea you have for the channel art-wise that I just haven't thought of. And also, if you or somebody you know is an artist who might be willing to do this commission, I'd love to know about it, because let's be honest, I mean, it'd be cool if we could just if we could work this all throughout the community. I don't know what your talents are. Maybe you guys are some pretty talented people. I know, I'm sure you are, actually. I just don't know if any of you are artist people and who can do stuff in the style that I'm hoping for. This is going to be a pretty specific commission, probably a complex one. I am planning to pay. I'm not trying to ask for free handouts, so don't worry about that. I want this to be something that the channel can have and to elevate us. I've had some great channel art. I actually want to talk about that here. This is the channel art we've had up till now. Love it. It was made by Spooky Panda Girl. She did a great job capturing the spirit of the character that I have from a book. And I think he's been a great face for the channel. But I'm torn because there's a lot of different directions I could take stuff with this art project. And I've got so many good options. I'm really not sure which one I like most. It depends on the day. So absolutely, like, take this quick survey, give me your opinion. I don't care if it's just 3 people taking the survey or 100 people taking the survey. Could be upwards of 1,000, I don't know. Apparently there's 1,000 of us out there, like, in the subscribed channel. It's subscribed to the channel, so I mean, I hope we can hear back from some of you. I'm also going to be doing a little video for this. I was hoping to do it tonight, but we'll see how I'm feeling. I might just do it sometime next week, just kind of announcing the survey and just asking for people to check it out. So thank you guys so much for this long intro, and just welcome to the live stream. So like I said, oh yeah, I guess I'll wrap it up real quick. It's like, once again, in the description you can find a link to this. If for some reason you just can't get to it now, don't worry, I'll update it onto the website, and I'll also be putting it on the Discord channel. May even put it in Twitter if possible, but I think the link might be a little big for Twitter, so might not be the best place to find it. But yeah, Discord for sure. I'll be putting that up as soon as we finish the live stream. I'll be setting it up out there, so you guys can hopefully find it and let me know what you think. But anyway, let's get right to it, because we're gonna flip to anime now. There's some good stuff this season. I think that's one of the reasons why I even had this idea to begin with, is because there's so much going on this season. I'm really excited about a lot of it. And so I kind of wanted to share it with you guys because it's something I'm still passionate about, but yet I actually don't talk about a whole lot on my channel, which is really interesting because visual novels and anime are so closely related. I sometimes make some remarks about it, but I never really bring it up a whole lot because it might be a bit distracting or be too rambling, and oftentimes it wouldn't be that relevant anyway. So I thought we'd go through, talk about some of them. I kind of share my thoughts. I'd love to hear any of your some of your reactions, and also just hear your thoughts. So please, I'll keep an eye on the chat. It'll be a lot easier for you to do, and you'll be able to see when I look at the chat now, which is exciting. It's weird actually talking to the webcam. Because I normally record on a high definition camera, so that my I like the angle I can get with it, and I also like how detailed it can be. The webcam's not as great, the picture's not as steady. So I normally talk to a camera, but with the camera I get a screen feedback like showing me my own face, and it helps me kind of like keep track of like where I'm looking and how I look in frame, so I can adjust as I'm going. Webcam can't do that. I have to look over here to see how I look, and when I do that, I'm no longer looking at the camera, and so it looks really strange, and it freaks me out. So I pretend to ignore it. By the way, so Alyssa Lee, yep, I'd see you again, of course. Wild Romance and everything, I'm sure. B. Gill, the Promised Neverland. You bet we're going to talk about that one. Absolutely, we're going to talk about that one. So hold your horses, because I think we should start where, honestly, the logical place is going to be, and that's going to be the shows that I'm continuing from last season or previous seasons in general. So I'm going to start here about the ones that are kind of ongoing, and I have a lot more to say about them, and then we'll go to the new stuff. So I guess we should probably just get started. Thank you guys so much for joining me. So I was thinking about where to begin. I think we need to start with the elephant in the room, and that's, unfortunately, Sword Art Online Actualisation. Alicization. It's a weird word. I feel like actualization makes more sense, honestly. But, okay. So, Sword Art Online and I have an interesting history. I actually think Sword Art Online was one of the first anime. It was the first anime I watched that was the beginning of my journey into anime, I guess you could say. It wasn't the first one I ever watched. I think the first anime I ever watched, period, was Full Metal Alchemist. And very swiftly after that, we all watched Baccano, which is one of my all-time favorites to this day. And on Ghost Stories, the English dub, because I don't care who you are, you need to watch that English dub, because it's amazing. It's a subpar anime that didn't do very well, and so, like, although the rights had been bought to get it dubbed in English, by the time it was coming out, the publisher didn't really care anymore, and so they told the voice actors, like, look, you've got permission to make this, try and do the best you can with it, just literally go to town, do whatever you want. And oh my gosh, they made one of the most amazing things ever. It's horrendously inappropriate and insulting to many groups of ethnic groups, religious groups. it's bad, but it's amazing at the same time, so make sure you watch it. Anyway, so I watched some of that stuff, and I liked it, but I never got into anime. There's a big difference between, like, being a fan of anime and getting into it. I got into it, starting with Sword Art Online, because I liked the idea. The concept was really good. This is like someone pitched the idea of what it is, you know, people being sent into a game and then being trapped in it. And that really sold to me. I'm also seeing, so, Mochan 009 Muv-Love. I can't read Japanese. I'm sorry. I'm working on it. I'm a long ways away from knowing what you're saying. I'm so sorry, but thank you for being here. Let's see. Oh yeah, so BG, like, apparently, B Gill, you can apparently read that. That's awesome. Man, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I recognize all the lettering, though, except for the kanji. Ooh, the kanji. Did I tell you guys, I'm trying to learn Japanese, but I have to start on my own, because I can't go to school right now, because family stuff. And I'm bad. Honestly, the hardest thing is finding the time. But anyway, Prioclithe, like, Baccano, yes. Fantastic one. Anyway, Sword Art Online. Watching it. First half, first season. Brilliant, honestly. Really well done. In a way. At first, I just loved everything about it. In hindsight, I started thinking about it, and I realized that, like, they took a concept as awesome as being trapped in a video game, and, like, what that would be like, and how different that would be, and how similar that would be to real life. But they kind of squandered it almost immediately, because as they started exploring some of the more interesting concepts about it, they immediately transitioned to just showing all the various waifus that Kirito gathers. And, like, while those are sweet stories, it doesn't really show a whole lot of what the game was supposed to be about, or what living in SAO was supposed to be like. And then we just kind of, and then we get the Asuna love arc, and then boom, it's over. Halfway through the season. Like, it felt like we rushed so much and we lost so much that we could have enjoyed. Then, second arc of that first season, I don't know. I mean, I liked some of the ideas. I liked some of the scenarios that came up in the combat, but at that point, Kirito just started his train of being super powerful, and there's also the creepy, rapey dude at the end. Not a big fan. And then the second season, a little better, but it's Gun Gale Online. Sinon was a great character, and I loved her story. I thought Kirito was kind of like pointless. Well, not pointless, but he was like kind of meh through that whole story. There wasn't much he was adding to it, in my opinion, besides just, I'm awesome, look at me. Sinon's story was really good, and so I liked her stuff. And so that second season was a bit better. Now we get to Actualisation. Holy crap. I almost don't think it's relevant how it ties into Kirito's life. Like, we see his life for like a tiny little bit, and then boom, he's like in this super crazy like AI generation system, and like all the AI systems in it think that they're real people. And some of the stuff that's going in here, I have to admit, it's pretty good. Like, I kind of like how they kind of canned everything from before, except for some like little references. Kirito starts over. He doesn't start off super powered. He has to build himself back up from the bottom. He has some friends, and there's a lot of mystery going on. And it's kind of interesting to see a world. Once again, the world building and crafting in it is a lot better because they're actually exploring this idea of what if you were in a world that was created and run by a giant program, but the people inside it had always like grown up with it like that. They didn't understand the concept of a computer. They live in like a fantasy land. But and so for them, the things that are simple like accessing system command and saying words like system command, this just seems natural to it. It's part of like the magic of the world. But you can but for Kirito and us, we're like, oh, that's computer accessing, and that's accessing this like full dive system. It's really interesting, and so far the characters are fairly well done. There was once again the rapiness comes back. I don't know why they can't put that aside for a little bit, and they had that one very intense episode. Luckily, Crunchyroll was better at catching it before it got too bad and put a warning in front of it, but. So far, pretty good. So I'm going to finish it. I don't know where it's going to go, and it's definitely not the best thing I've seen for the past 2 seasons, but pretty good. I talked a lot about it, but there's a lot of history with me in Sword Art Online. All right, I'm going to get back to this. Pro Clithin, you think the kanji means that they always enjoyed watching you play Muv-Luv, but my Japanese is shaky at best. Well, it's better than me, and it sounds like everyone's agreeing with you. Okay, so Gil, it's holding because you're using a word that YouTube doesn't like. I'm not going to approve it, but I agree. The rapey stuff's weird, and they're like so focused on it too. I understand throwing it in every once in a while because it's a real life thing that people have to face, and it sucks. And like, it's something we should be aware of, and that's what media should do, is it should introduce us and show us parts of life that we might not experience or we don't appreciate, so we can have an appreciation for it. But they're oddly fixated on it, it feels like, whoever writes it. And then started off promising, went downhill until this season, yep, it came back up. So, Sword Art Online, give it a shot, try out the third one. I almost don't think you need to be in that familiar. Like, besides the fact that you can see references to all the characters from the previous seasons, it almost doesn't matter, because the focus really is on Kirito's journey through this new scenario. And so you could almost come into it not knowing anything about the previous seasons, and you could follow along pretty well. That might change towards the end, but I don't know. Alright, so now we're going to do continuing, and we're going to go to one of my favorite series, which is, and here they give a lot of these are going to be the actual name, so I'll try and remember exactly. Oh yeah, they get the English title right there. That time I got reincarnated as a slime, which I'm sure is not as great as the original title. Fantastic. I like to compare this one to Overlord personally, because Overlord's that idea of a person who gets sucked into a new world, which is his video game, but he's super overpowered. And we get to kind of see his transformation as almost like a villain with kind of a conscience. Which is interesting because they talk about it there, about like how he doesn't actually feel bad, but he knows he should. And it kind of limits how much evil he's willing to do. But it's that whole concept of like having someone who's overpowered, but there's still like story behind it, which is very different from the story. I think it's called The Time I Got Sent to a New World with My Smartphone. That one's stupid. He's overpowered, a main character, but that one's really dumb because it feels like it just kind of gives everything to the player, and like that, yes, they're OP, but it feels like they're just OP because they're supposed to be OP. This one's fantastic because he gets reincarnated as a slime, and he has some amazing abilities, but he still has to learn and grow as a character. He often doesn't feel like he's very confident in what he's doing. He has doubts about what's happening, and yet because he, like, when time's right, and because of his abilities, he comes off as this really powerful, all-knowing type character. So he gets surrounded by a bunch of people who like him and who like support him and like actually not worship per se, but are become devoted followers. And he kind of just like just trying to do the best he can. He's really cute. The characters he meets are really fun because like as he meets them, you get to know each of them and a little bit about their backstory, and it gives them each a little bit of depth. And then it moves on, and it doesn't tend to focus too much on characters that have kind of already had their resolutions. They still participate in the story, but they're just a part of a growing world. And I just love the idea of the slime, like trying to like he's just trying to be a good person, and he's willing to do what he can to help those who are downtrodden, and then he turns them into stronger versions of themselves. And it's a fun story of like redemption and being able to like it feeds that desire you have. Like sometimes you can walk around in life and feel like, man, I just don't do what I want to do sometimes. Like I feel like I'm so impotent at being able to influence people around me or the situation around me. Maybe you see like people who are like homeless and starving, or you see people who are struggling in their lives and you just want to be able to help but you can't do anything. I feel like this is like the band-aid that your heart needs, because it's like, wouldn't it be nice to imagine a world where you literally could do all the things that you wish you could do for other people? And he's just it's a kind-hearted like type of character. He's also not perfect, but he's great. Wild Romance on Steam. Love Kami Useless Goddess. Is that a game or an anime? Useless Goddess. Like, every time I think Useless Goddess, I think of Konosuba. Which, I mean, to be fair, great show. But yeah, anyway, so The Time I Got Reincarnated as Slime, fantastic. Absolutely should watch it. Apparently they did an English dub recently, so if that's your thing, then go for it. It's probably one of the better ones. Like, if there's like anything you should make sure you watch for this season, I'd catch up on that one. That's a really good one. I really probably should watch Magical Index. I've heard it's really good. I just never got started in it, and like jumping into 3 seasons, it's like it's a little daunting. I don't have tons of time, and I'm really interested in a bunch of other stuff, so I don't know. I've also, like, some people say it's kind of hit or miss. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's any other continuing series I'm really all that interested in. There's probably some I should be interested in, but I don't know to pick it up. Oh yeah, Zoids. I watched this when I was a kid. Haven't bothered to check it out if it's actually good. But I'm kind of happy it's still around. That's kind of cool. A lot of these have been going for a long time. Like there's like the one that's about Japanese like folklore. I should watch that just for educational purposes, honestly, and just get you understanding more about a culture I don't know. All right, but that's pretty much everything that's continuing going on. I just haven't picked up any of these that they're still going. There's a lot of good anime from last season I can recommend, but that's not what we're here today. So, breathing. Okay. By the way, if for some reason I bow out, I've been having kind of funny like feeling tonight. I don't know why. I think I must have ate something weird. I think I'm fine. I don't feel terrible, but there's there's a small chance I might have to rush out of here. So like I'll probably just like, if I suddenly close the stream, it's either I'm not feeling good and I had to rush to take care of something, or power went out, because there's actually a pretty big storm going on right now, and they actually said it's pretty likely that our power will go out at some point, because it's going to be so it's going to snow. It's supposed to snow somewhere between 10 and 20 inches in the next 12 hours. But during that, it's not just snow. It's going to first snow, and then it's going to blizzard, and then it's going to rain, and then it's going to freeze. So life's about to become a death trap, and to the point where pretty much everything is shutting down tomorrow. Like we have like stuff we do on Sundays where we go around and do stuff as a family and go visit places, but it's all been shut down. Like there's no reason for us to leave the house because there's literally nothing going to be open that's worth visiting. So who knows what'll happen. I just know I got an emergency heater because I don't like taking chances. So that if the stream just suddenly cuts, that's most likely why. All right, now let's get to the top. Now there's gonna be a lot I haven't watched. This is where I'm gonna have to rely on you guys to let me know if there's anything like really good I'm missing. So we're gonna go in order as they appear in the anime list. So we're actually starting off real strong with I could probably read that, but it'd be nasty. But it's the Rising of the Shield Hero. A lot of people had an interesting reaction to the first episode. I actually didn't know that until after I watched it. And so I didn't hear any of the controversy until after I watched the first episode, because I watched the first episode and I was blown away. I was like, this is freaking amazing. It's a story of a guy that's it's once again the transport to another world. That genre's getting beaten to death, but gosh darn it, if they do it right, it's fantastic. Guy gets sucked into another world through a book at a library he finds randomly, and he becomes one of 4 promised heroes. There's a swordsman, there's a spearman, a archer, and a shield wielder. Each of them have a magical weapon that can perform these amazing stunts. And Isekai, that's the series, the type, right? The transport to another world. As BG's pointing out, I don't like Isekai series that much, but I really like this one. Yes, this one's one of the best ones I've seen. I think the only one that's honestly like that I truly, genuinely think was done right is Log Horizon. Log Horizon was beautifully executed, and I really wish they could continue it. I just don't think they will. But this series, Rising of the Shield Hero, so you got the 4 heroes, they get summoned to the world, and they're each supposed to help defend the world against an apocalypse, effectively. They're all people from Japan, but it's interesting because they established that each of the boys who were brought in as part of this ritual are from different worlds, where they have slight differences, like different prime minister, different people won certain series, certain wars were ended in different ways. So you've got the 4, they're all from Japan, but they're all different versions of Japan. And some shenanigans go down, and the shield hero, who's considered to be the weakest, and he also has no offensive capabilities, and he can't just like pick up a sword and use it. It's against the rules of the system he's a part of. He ends up getting ostracized, branded as a heinous criminal that nobody wants to talk to. So he has to get really... It kind of gets down to, if you're a realist like me, it's just glorious. Because it's like things are like, oh, happy, and everything's going great, and everything goes horribly wrong because he gets taken advantage of because he's too simple-minded and too trusting. And so it's just like, yeah, that's what it'd be really like. But it's so well done, and the art's beautiful. It's one of the best animated shows this season. I love everything about it. It's just eye candy, in my opinion. And just the flow and the world building is nice because they do a lot of show, not tell, which is really important to me. Because if anytime they have to like lecture you about how a world works, that's boring. That's not world crafting. World crafting is something you see and you get to experience, rather than having to be told what it's like. And it's just fantastic. So highly, highly, highly recommend. In fact, it might be my number 1 for this season. It's got a few contenders, but it's like, it hit all the notes really well. Second season's amazing because he gets his companion, who's adorable, and I'm really interested to see like their character dynamic. But yeah, no, absolutely highly recommend, and ignore the controversy. Like, a lot of the controversy has to do with the situation of how he kind of falls and how he gets blamed for a crime he didn't commit. Which is funny because it's like a lot of the debate came out to be like, well, like, oh, that doesn't ever really happen. It's like, well, A, it could happen, and B, that's not the point. The point is something terrible happens to him that was orchestrated and pre-planned, and was a terrible, terrible thing to have to happen. But like, it's part of his story. It's not supposed to be really. It's an anime. Don't expect it to be true to life. And even if and honestly, I bet you stuff like that happens more. So like, I don't want to talk too much. I don't want to spoil the first episode for you. But trust me, like when you watch it, like the people who got up in arms. I don't understand like why. It was very strange. All right, now here's a good juicy one. Here's one I'm not even going to be able to talk about very much because it's one of those like you have to go watch the first episode yourself. There's a few series that I say that for, like a School Live, or School Live. I don't know how you would pronounce it. I think that came out last year or 2 years ago. It was one of those ones where it's like you had to just tell people to watch it. You didn't want to say a word because you'd spoil stuff. That's the same with this one. The Promised Neverland. I love the cover art of it, by the way. At first I saw that, I was like, oh, that looks interesting. And then after I watched the first episode, I was like, oh, that's really interesting. But no, it's also, this one's also beautifully animated. Not always, it's not like every cut's gonna be full of just glory, but every once in a while you get these cuts that are just gorgeous. And I think that's the thing that's most important. Like, you obviously don't have camera angles in an anime because it's storyboarded, but I think of it like camera angles because that's how I grew up watching TV, you know, that's pretty much how we all do. And I have to say, the camera angling and the directing of this show is fantastic. It knows how to create atmosphere. It knows how to create tension, which is something that's hard to really conceptualize. You can list off all day all the things you think make a tense scene, but honestly, it's an art in and of itself. There's no right way of doing it. It has to do a lot with the style of the show you're filming or animating. In this one, a lot of it has to do with cuts. They're rapid cuts that are a little shocking. It loves to go either really close to the face or pull back really far, which can make you feel both distant and intimate with a scene all at the same time. And that kind of gives you a disassociation that I think amplifies it a lot. It also has a really good soundtrack. The music is spot on, and the execution of the music, which is the most important thing, is brilliant. And I also love how this series has understood the beauty of silence. That when you want to have a scene that's very, very intense and very like horror filled, is when the best scenes often have no music. I also found that, like, while it has some like jump scary type things, I'm finding that it's not really leaning on them too much. And it's not like an in your face type jump scare. It's more about, like I said, those hard cuts that it does. But it's not using them as a way to jump out at you. It's more of a way to suddenly draw your focus to something very specific. And the subject matter is what tends to make it more freaky. So I call this one a psychological horror, probably, because it has a lot of focus on characterization and how characters are dealing with a situation, not so much the situation itself. So fantastic, absolutely should watch it. This is probably my number 2 of the series, of the season. It just blew me away, and I'm very excited to watch it from here on out. Anyway, so anime Nagasrete Aranatu. Not recognizing that one by name, or Nakonin X Heart. Once again, are those ones you're seeing on here? Because I don't recognize them. We'll get to, oh, here we go. This one's interesting. So I literally picked this one up on a whim because I don't know. I actually think I saw one of the characters, and I thought that they looked interesting because I saw like a snapshot. So I just wanted to see like what is this? And this one really surprised me. So they call it Kaguya-sama, Love is War. Now, the premise is hilarious because it's about the president, who is this young man on the left, and the vice president, which is this young woman on the right, and then their secretaries in the back with the pink card. I don't know if you actually probably can't see my arrow because I think I disabled being able to see it, but that's okay. So the story follows the president and vice president. The whole concept of the first episode is someone happens to mention that they look like they'd make an amazing couple because they're like the top students of the school. Like, he's like literally a super brainiac. He gets perfect scores on like all the tests he takes. She is the heiress of a massive multimedia company that's worth like, I think I said like 200 billion yen or something. And like how she's going to be like when she inherits the company name, she's going to become one of the most influential people in Japan. So they're super powerful. Their futures are just going to be amazing, and you know, all that good stuff. So they mentioned in passing how like, oh, they'd be perfect for each other. They're both so prideful and think so highly of themselves. They're like, love, who needs love? Not like I have time for love right now anyway. Then they think about it and they're like, but you know, I wouldn't say no if they confessed to me. But I don't want to be the one to confess, because they got it in their minds too that like in a relationship there's one person who's always like, there's like the dominant person in the relationship, and they believe that the dominant person is the one who gets asked out, the one who gets asked to be the boyfriend or girlfriend. And so they enter into this little war where they're like determined to make the other person admit their undying love and ask them to go out together, like to go on a date and to start a relationship. And it's funny because the way they shoot the series, it shoots like, have you ever watched Sherlock? Like, I'm thinking the BBC version. Or I guess there's a few like other anime I could think of where like Beautiful Bones was one. Love that one. That was from a while ago. But it's the whole idea of like having like we get used to anime characters that are super smart. Oh, like Death Note's a good one with Light and L. Like how they're both like really smart and they're trying to outplay each other. And so like you see like their mind games, but they can't like talk to each other at all. Like, but you see like how things are going on, like how they trade back and forth on each other's plans, and like how there's like a twist here or there where like one of them like happens to outmaneuver the other. They play this anime like that style of like two really smart people battling it out. But the thing is that what's actually happening is you've got two people who are really scholastically smart but romantically inept. And so they're outthinking each other over really stupid things that don't actually matter. And they're misrepresenting things that they're doing. And so they end up having these exchanges where they're both like genuinely feeling like romantic feelings for each other, but they're so prideful they're not willing to admit that to themselves, and they're not willing to concede the point of actually just taking that little step and asking them out to go somewhere, even if it would be super easy. And like just the idea of taking this idea of two people who think they're really smart but like absolutely just being like awful at being smart when it comes to this kind of stuff. It's brilliantly hilarious. I was cracking up like for the first episode. Second episode's actually come out. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet just because I haven't had time. But fantastic. Yeah, BG, yeah, like Big Gill, like yes, this is a fantastic one. Like it's definitely a comedy though. Like don't go into it expecting them to genuinely being super smart and like super Sherlocky. It just plays in that style. But it's obviously like a jab at the style and like people who think they're smarter than they are. Really funny. And also I think character design is really fun. They do a big play on like blue and red. Like she has red eyes, he has blue eyes, and they kind of play on that theme really heavily. And they also do the dramatic like inner monologuing where they take a pose and it's like fluffle hair and stuff. It's really fun. I want to watch that now. I'm gonna watch that tonight. Hopefully I'm not too tired after this. Let's see. Oh dear. Now we're going to get into, what do you call it? I'm going to call it my, every season I typically pick up at least one guilty pleasure. Something that literally has no intrinsic value, has no challenging thinking, has no, like, there's nothing about it that's really going to advance my thinking in any way. It's literally just something I watch because it's just smutty and I like it. Oh, School Ruler 2. Act Like Rick and Morty fans? I would say yes. Except about romance, not about pseudo-science-y jokes. Funny, I think I've watched like one episode of Rick and Morty. I just don't have a way of watching it. And so like everyone's like, oh, do you don't watch Rick and Morty? I'm like, no. I'm sure it's hilarious, but no, just don't have the option. Okay, so here we're going to watch this one, which a domestic girlfriend. Oh yeah, I'm not actually watching this one. I forgot. I watched the first episode. It's weird. I'm not sure if I liked this one so much. So it's a little down on the like. I tried it and I didn't like it. Maybe you like it. But the whole, I thought it was going to be my guilty pleasure. Hasn't really been that one for me. Because the concept is pretty simple. Guy goes to school. I guess it says he's in love with his teacher. I didn't really like get that feel because I think it kind of like was a small part of the episode. Ends up meeting a strange girl somehow, one or another. She ends up like sleeping with him, like asking him to sleep with her like once. And I think it's if I remember correctly, she even says those things. She's like, "It's not because I have feelings for you. It's just because I want to experience it before I like dedicate myself to my studies." And he's like, okay. And so they do it. And he's like, well, that was weird. Are we in a relationship? She's like, no, go away. And he's like, whatever. So he leaves. And then like the next day, his dad, I think, gets remarried to a woman who has a child around his age. Turns out it's that same girl. So now it's the whole like, they're now siblings, but they're not blood related, and they already slept together. Like it's one of those things where it's like it's trying to go around the whole problem of like sleeping with your sibling. Not only are they not blood related, but they weren't siblings when they slept together, but now they are siblings, and so that's what this whole thing is going to be about. It's just going to be a mess. Yeah, I don't even know. I'm not going to give it much thought. I actually thought it was something else when I clicked on it, but like I'm glad to get over that because like I watched it and I was like, no. Boogie Pop right here. I haven't watched it. I've been seeing people talking about it though, and usually when people talk about it a lot online, I haven't been watching it, like seeing what they talk about, but I see it pop up a lot as it's like a title drop. I might give it a shot because like usually if the more people are talking about a series, the more likely it's going to be decent. Oh, excuse me. So we'll see. I right now just don't know if I have time. All right, this is the one I thought it was. This is going to be my guilty pleasure. This is the oh gosh, what are the? It doesn't have its. I guess I don't think it has an English name. So it's a Gotoban. I'm going to slaughter this. Gotoban no Hanayomi. Gotoban no Hanayomi. Which, so like I said, guilty pleasure. There's really no intrinsic value to this one at all. School Days. So I don't know what you're saying. You're talking about School Days like the older anime? I don't think I was referring to that one. I only know about that one by reputation. I don't think I've even watched School Days. But anyway, so this one, the whole concept is you have a student who's really, really smart, but he's really poor. He prides himself on being able to get top marks in his grade and being able to live a frugal life. You know, it's kind of like the epitome of like living within your means. He ends up meeting a strange collection of girls. They're very they're very odd. Like the first girl he meets is interesting because she starts out very sweet to him, but then like he kind of like dismisses her like flippantly, and so she kind of has become the tsundere, which I think is a better approach. Where she's not just being a mean person to everybody she meets like a typical tsundere seems to be. It's more of like, oh, she was being nice to him, but then he turned out to be kind of a jerk, and so now she's kind of mean to him. But she's still kind of nice on the inside. You've got the quiet. I'm all these terms I always mix them up because I just don't think about them very much as labels per se, except for tsundere, just because it's such a massive trope in the anime genre. But I think it's otodere. It's the girl who she's the one in the middle with the headphones, where she's kind of just distant, but she has a sweet side to her, but she tends to be kind of cold. I guess the orange-haired girl on the left with her hands in the air, she'd be like a dere, which is she's just like bubbly and happy all the time. The one in the back, she's kind of like the klutz, but she's also very, very like self-aware of like her presence and her gender and her effect. She's constantly referring to herself as being like beautiful and talking about like, oh, like, do you want to do terrible things to me? Like that kind of stuff. Just kind of overmuch. And then the one on the right, she's got the reminiscence of a yandere type character where she's like, she seems pleasant and if dismissive, but she's already like done terrible things to the main guy. Like she actually poisons and drugs him. Because she doesn't want him to be around. So will she be yandere? I don't know, but she has the tendency where she could become such. Here's the thing though, all 5 of them are siblings. They're actually all oh gosh, it's triplets, quintuplets, not octuplets, that's 8. Quintuplets, I think quintuplets is 5. Now there's it's where they're all 5, but they're all effectively like twins, but there's 5 of them, which is funny because like at first like they all looked very, very different, but it's all just the hair color. Like all their faces are the same. They actually do a fun stunt in the second one where one of them pretends to be another one, and it genuinely is kind of like, whoa, like you can kind of tell that the hair is really the only major difference between any of the characters, and maybe like what they're wearing. So the whole idea is that they come to school, but all 5 of them, they were in a prestigious academy, but they had to drop out because they're all failing their subjects terribly, and they're going to like get failed out of school if they don't get help. So they transferred to kind of like rub out the old grades that they couldn't climb out from under. And so he gets hired to tutor them. And the first major battle is the fact that they all think he's stupid and hate him. But anyway, so it's just going to be nonsense, and it's going to be hilarious. And so far it's been hilarious. So is it really substantial? No. It's just stupid. But it's going to be my guilty pleasure. So we go for that. Now, oh man, I keep saying now. It's like, so now we're going to go to the next one. And this one might be the best thing of the whole year. Not because it's life-changing, not because it's going to challenge what you believe, but because it's the most adorable and fun idea I've seen in a while, although it may not be quite original. So the name is My Roommate is a Cat. If you're a cat lover, you'll love this. If you hate cats, probably won't. But they do have a fun twist on it, so you might enjoy it anyway. So the whole concept is the main character, like when he was in high school, his parents died in a tour bus accident. I don't know if it was a tour bus. It was a bus accident. So they died and left him alone. But he became a prolific writer. He was a very quiet, shy person, kind of shuns people in general, but he's a fantastic author. He loves books in general. So he prolifically writes, and he publishes all his stories, and he is gotten popular enough where he can survive off of his earnings. Although he doesn't know how to take care of himself very well. That's pretty apparent in the first episode. However, when he goes to visit his parents' graves, he brings them an offering, which in this case it turned out it was some kind of fish or sashimi or something. But a cat jumps out and starts eating the fish because they're ravenously hungry. And he feels bad for the cat and decides to take it home and help feed it and take care of it. The cat ends up being a source of inspiration for him too, because he gets an idea for a new book where the main character is being stalked by an intelligent evil cat that's trying to kill him, and no one believes the character. Like, everyone tries to tell people, like, no, this cat's trying to kill me, and no one believes them. But the cat keeps trying to set traps and stuff to try and bring him down. Like, that's the story he's writing in the show. The actual story that's going on is just him having a cat and just not knowing what to do, but having this kind of bonding with the cat. Now, what I love about the series isn't so much just that. Like, first off, I'm a sucker for cats, so I was going to kind of like the premise anyway. What really got me going is the fact that we also get to see the cat's perspective. So we see, like, events play out, and there's a part of the story where he kind of falls practically unconscious, or he's forcibly falls asleep. And then we get a switch to the cat point of view, and the cat has a kind of an internal narrative, and they are a thinking, kind of living being. And we see pretty much the same story, but what the cat was thinking the whole time. And you can see, like, the mismatches where he, like, sees the cat doing something and he interprets it as meaning one thing, but from the cat's perspective, it's completely different. Yet they kind of reach this understanding anyway, even though they're not actually understanding each other. And the cat, like, you can see, has a very loving personality. Like, at first it's kind of flippant towards him, which, it's a cat. But when he collapses, like, the cat starts to get really nervous because the cat has memories of her own siblings starving to death. And the frantic feeling of trying to protect them and, like, worrying about them. And, like, she kind of has flashbacks to that. And she starts caring for this human of hers. And they just end up developing a bond and start living together. And so, like, he draws on her friendship as learning how to take care of something besides himself, and even taking care of himself better, and drawing inspiration for his books, where she gets to have a roof over her head and stability and food. So if you wanted to say, like, honestly, there's the best way to summarize this series, it's Garfield the anime. Except it's not as depressing, because, like, Garfield, the whole premise of Garfield is it's a fat, lazy cat with its owner, John. And the owner and the cat could actually talk to each other. Take away that, and instead just have it be an owner and a cat. But that idea of, like, we get to hear stories from the cat's perspective and the human perspective, and it's just glorious and fun and bubbly and nice. It's actually the one I'm watching with my wife. My wife doesn't get into too much anime. She definitely isn't getting interested in, like, the action-packed ones or the violent ones or the horror ones. Definitely not. But she loves a good, cute story. She loved Sweetness and Lightning. She really liked Erased, which was a bit more intense, but she just loved the concept of Erased. She liked a lot of the movies that I end up buying, like Your Name, Summer Wars. I think she actually recently got Fireworks, which was pretty good. And she also bought she saw this store and she's like, oh, I'm going to buy this. This looks good. Oh, shoot. What was it? Oh, no, I can't think of the name. It's the one that's, like, it's based on the book. It's called the book The Borrowers. Fantastic series. But anyway, so, like, this is the one that she was loved. It had a cute cat, and I love the story, and I was like, this is the one you want to watch. So I showed her the first episode. She loved it. She's, like, super excited for every Wednesday now, because Wednesday's when it comes out in the United States on Crunchyroll. And so she's like, she can't wait for the next one. So fantastic. This is another one I highly, highly recommend. It's not really one that's going to challenge you in any way, but it's absolutely worth it for the feels. And, just like, if you're having a bad day and you watch that series, your day will be better. Let's see. There's a few here I've seen. I just don't know if I have time for them. And there's a lot I'm just not even going to bother with. Grimm's Notes, that sounded kind of interesting, but not enough. Okay, here's one that's really odd, and if any of my viewers in here are fans of my visual novel series, this is one we need to talk about. And it's one I'm going to be bringing up in my series, for freaking sure. So this one, Girly Air Force. I saw this one, and I was like, doubt that's going to be very good. so far I was kind of right. But bear with me, there's a reason why I'm going to have to keep watching this. It's not really what you normally would think. There's a... Actually, I think I should start with this, because there's a bit of an interesting dynamic. Like, there's a book I've read recently called Skyward, which is about a kind of dystopian type future where humans crash landed on a planet and have been trapped there by this alien race, and they're desperately trying to survive, and the only thing they can do to try and fend off the aliens that are fighting them is by having this like Air Force, effectively. Like, not really space, but they use spaceship like technology to fight these aliens. The thing is about the main character, Spencer, she has to face a lot of trials and like really struggles to like make a name for herself because her father was a traitor. But she ends up finding an old wreck of a ship, like an ancient ship, but the ship is incredibly advanced and it has an AI. Like, the ship is alive and can like think for itself. And so she and the ship become a pair and end up going on adventures together trying to fight the race of aliens. So I saw this show, and it showed like a girl in a crazy looking jet and moving and fighting really crazy dogfight styles. And I was like, oh, maybe this is going to be something similar to Skyward. And I liked Skyward, so I'll give this one a go. It turns out it's not like Skyward at all. As a matter of fact, it's Mug Love. I'm 99% sure that whoever wrote this was a big fan of Mug Love, because the notes it hits are freaking dead on too much. Like, sometimes you're going to have series that are going to be similar to each other. And it's no big deal to get inspired by something a little different. But this is getting almost annoying with how similar this is. Like, it has this whole idea of a advanced... They don't know if they're aliens or if they're humans, in this case. But there's a group of people called the Z. It's like XI. Or I guess, and here it's they just spell it in English, they say like Zai, like Z-A-I. But in the anime, when I was watching it, they pronounce it like Z, like X-I. Anyway, they show up and they have these really incredibly like strong ships that are really maneuverable, and they send up like EMPs, making it so that like missiles won't lock on, and flight navigations also go wonky, making it almost impossible for conventional air forces to fight them. So Japan's working on these super secret weapons. Well, we only know one so far, but obviously because of the poster, there's going to be three that are like, they're called like animas. And they like are super fighter jets that can actually hunt them down and don't have any problems dealing with the sensors. Inside the animas, the planes are these girls, or at least the pink-haired girl. And the main character ends up meeting her in an odd circumstance where, like, after she fights off some of these things that are trying to destroy refugees fleeing to Japan from China, she ends up crashing. He goes out and saves her, and they have a really interesting interaction. Here's the thing. The parallels in the first episode with Mug Love are so strong, it's kind of shocking. Let's see. I'll go through them. So we have an unknown alien-type race invading Asia. Obviously, it's not nearly as crazy, scary, or intense as the beta, but you know, the concept is similar, and when you see enough of these parallels, you'll see why it's part of the problem. In this series, the solution is to invent these fighters that are not actually human. It's not really a spoiler because you learn all this like in the first episode. But you find out that this girl, the anima, is actually the plane. So she's the pilot and there's the plane, and they're technically two different entities per se. Like she can like get out of the plane and move around, but she's not human. I don't know exactly the details of it, but they talk about it like she's an artificial being. So if you're following me in Mug Love Alternative, you'll see what the parallels there. I'm not going to specifically point it out, but the thing about it, so you've got that going for it. And so while she walks, talks, looks, acts, and can behave pretty much exclusively like a human, she's not really. She also has been designed as a weapon to fight this alien-like force. And then the one that really kicked me is the professor-type person who's in charge of the program, creating and training the animas. There's a secret military base, not really secret, but like an intense military base where they have like they're part of this program. Now the main professor dude is a guy. He's kind of got a pot belly. However, like if I've never seen a character that was so much like Yuko Sensei than that guy was. I swear some of the lines he says in the first episode were ripped straight from Love Love Alternative. I don't know why or how, but it's so strong a connection. So the anime itself, not super great. It's kind of interesting. I would give it kind of like a meh, like might be worth seeing if it sounds like your genre. But I'm definitely going to watch it because like the parallels are already so strong. I wonder how far the parallelism is going to go because it already feels like I'm watching a knockoff Love Love right now. So I'll see about that. It kind of makes me annoyed, but once again, probably just someone who just really loves Love Love and got a little too enthusiastic in copying it. I think that might be everything I'm going to be watching as of now. None of these, I don't think, like, I've seen, like, little bits of, yep, that's pretty much all of it. There's a couple I'm considering watching, but not really strong into, but yeah, that's my take on it. So, thanks for, like, listening to that. Hopefully I either, like, confirmed your feelings about something. Hopefully I brought something to your attention you might not have known before. That's my biggest wish. I kind of want to do this again towards the end of the series and, like, talk about, like, the ones I ended up watching to the end and seeing, like, kind of, like, my overall assessment of them. You know, because I feel like anime is something that we haven't bonded over much, like, on my channel, and I want to kind of do that more often. And, like, I mean, it only would happen a couple times a year, so it's like it's like going to be overwhelming and just like me prattling on about anime. That's for the anime man to do. Actually, kind of. He doesn't seem to do that much anymore, does he? He puts up videos every once in a while, I swear. Like, he used to do so much more, and I feel like his channel's gotten really quiet. Yeah. That's never mind for me. That's his deal. He's the one that's becoming successful on YouTube. So who am I to judge? Anyway, so before I go, I really want to talk about this again. I have a survey that I'm doing. We're going to be updating the channel art, and I would like to have your help. I've got some really brilliant ideas for things I want to do for the channel, and like how I want to make it look, and how I want to have kind of like the feel and the type of artwork I want to do. And I don't want to, like, I love all the ideas so much, I'm kind of just torn between them. So I just want to hear kind of what your thoughts are. Like, is there anything you guys would prefer to see or you think would be more interesting? Because really, at this point, I could be pushed any way. I could be pushed any direction at all. Once again, this Captain Yeager, he's a character from a book I've written. He's been a great avatar for the channel so far, but I want to see if we might want to shake things up a bit. So if the link is in the description of the video, it should be like really close to the top. It's a really fast survey. Like I can scroll down through the whole thing, like boom, it's done. Remember, it's like all of it's just like single choice. Like there's like 5 questions, and then there's like a type out question at the end. But those aren't even required. That's pretty much just a question of like, hey, do you have any ideas for a channel art theme that we could go for that I didn't think of? Maybe you'll have a better idea than I had up till now. Or more importantly, do you or someone you know are you someone, or do you know someone who has the skill to be able to actually make art for the channel? Obviously, I want it to be very anime inspired, especially with the source material I'm looking for. And I do want to pay, like, this is something I'm paying for, like, so I want it to be good quality. I want to do negotiations. I want to do some like storyboarding ideas, like concepts ideas, and kind of working together to make something really nice. Because the channel, I think, just needs an update, and I think it needs a personal touch, and I really want to bring something in that's more me. So, alright, so let's do real quick. You said Magical Girls anime. Like, there is one this season that I've been hearing about. I heard it's pretty intense. That's one of the ones I'm thinking about. But anyway, yeah. So School Ruler 2, yeah, this is the survey. Like I said, it should be in the description of this video. You should click a link and it takes you to this document. I'm also going to be posting it on my Discord channel. And I'm also going to be posting it probably in a little video I'm going to do. I was thinking of doing it tonight, but I think I might just go and sleep because I'm a little tired. But it's in the link now, and you'll see it posted later if you miss it tonight. But please, please, please go do the quick survey. This is something I might walk you through it right here really quickly, just because I want you to kind of see what it's going to be all about. You'll see it's pretty easy. But yeah, it's just time for an update, and I want to make sure I do it right, and so I want to hear what your thoughts are. So this is Captain, I said Captain Yeager. He's from a book, and I loved having him here. However, the first big question is, well, it's described it as boring. So the big question, the first one I want to get to is like, who should we have as the avatar / caricature of the channel? This is the one I'm most torn about, honestly. I don't know what the right answer here is, and so I just love, this is the one I think is the most important one for you guys to answer, because I want to know from an outsider's perspective what would make the channel look more interesting, more like the blue shifting in general. Do we keep Captain Yeager as the main, like keep his looks and his kind of like the way I imagine him as a character? Like he obviously might be in a different style, but keeping him essentially as he is. Would we want to transform it to be an avatar of me, like me personified in an anime form, you know, puffy cheeks and everything, which might be kind of fun, but I just don't know if that would be as interesting. Or we could switch it to a female avatar. I have another character from that book, actually the main character from that series. I have her in my mind as a conceptual character, and I think she would make a great possible like original character for the channel. I initially didn't go with that because Captain Yeager I felt more emulated like an attitude I wanted to have for this. Okay, so Gene, like, so you put stuff like that in, like, put it in the bottom as something I could easily add. I'll check it out. I apologize. I put in TSFs that I was familiar with. I was trying not to see any spoilers too, so I didn't really click around a whole lot on the Wikipedia page. So put that down. I'll definitely take a look at it. Do not be too triggered, although be a little triggered. I like passion for you guys. Thank you so much for doing the survey. I told you it's really quick. But yeah, so ultimately that's the biggest one I really want to know about is this idea of like who should we have as the face of the of the channel? Like, should it be a male anime character I invented, a female character I invented, or just myself? The other things are going to be like what series we're going to draw inspiration from for their outfit and poses, or keep it something similar. And then I asked for a few details regarding some of the options I chose. And so, honestly, the biggest thing I want to do here is, like, if there's anybody out there who's an artist whom I can support, whom's willing and able to do what I need them to do, I'd love to be able to support you. Like, I mean, I could hire anybody I want to. And technically, I've been kind of fishing around, but I thought, well, before I start picking out people and approaching them with a potential commission, I kind of wanted to look at my own community. Because I don't know, but there could easily be someone out there who's really talented. I'd love to be able to give you an opportunity to let your work shine, because you've given me that opportunity. You let me share something I'm passionate about, and I hope I do it well. And so I'd love to be able to support you if you can do it, or someone you know and love. So if you know somebody who can do it, or if you can do it yourself, please, please, please let me know. And I'll start talking to you about it. I have to put together an official pitch, so it might be a few weeks, maybe even a month before I'm actually like getting on the ground and going to pay for it. But I'm getting the process started. And the first thing I need to do is I need to nail down what I want. And that's why the survey is going to help me do. Once again, I might not even go with the majority of what your responses are. You could all pick a certain thing, and I might just decide to go somewhere else with it. And that's not saying I don't credit what you guys think. I'm in a flux right now of choice. Ultimately it's my channel. I'm going to decide what I think is best for what I want to do and what's best for the channel. But having your input is so meaningful to me because you see things that I don't. You have a perspective I can't ever have. And so I really appreciate you taking the time, and like literally you could do it in 30 seconds. Some of you have done it in like 30 seconds. So thank you so much. And once again, I'll keep the survey going for a while. I probably won't even like really like give it a hard look at like the results for at least a couple weeks. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for joining me for the live stream. I know this wasn't as very, I guess, I don't know, it depends. I've been experimenting with live streams. So I have no idea like what I really want to do consistently with this, but mostly it's going to be like, I like the live streams are the opportunity for me to do everything else I've always wanted to share with you guys, but just has nothing to do with the visual novels. Because I also think visual novels are kind of not the best live. They're not like super edit heavy per se, but I really like being able to like pause and have a break, to breathe, being able to like sit and think sometimes, or if I have something come up, like I don't have to like abandon the stream and cut you off in the middle of an exciting part. Like that's too important for me. But stupid games or stupid surveys and talking about anime, like I can absolutely do that live. So, oh, and one last thing. I don't know if you're familiar with these. It's called Bean Boozled Jelly Beans. They're inspired by Birdie Bot's Every Flavor beans, but they're nasty. You see, they have a mix. Half the beans taste like normal jelly bean flavors. Half of them have horrific tastes like spoiled milk, rotten egg, barf, dead fish, canned dog food, and lawn clippings, just to say a few. But they look just like the other kind. You never know if you're getting a good or bad bean. I literally got those for future live streams, and that's part of what we're gonna have a webcam here. In the future, if I'm playing a dumb game or whatever, I'm going to occasionally pop one of these beans, and you can watch me react terribly. It'd be great if we even did it in some kind of game show type format. Maybe I can try and answer trivia about something I think I know a lot about, and then show you guys how much I actually don't know anything about it. It could be a lot of fun. Let's see. So B Gil, you say that people do live streams get more subs that way too. For some reason I don't understand. Oh, I'll tell you why. Because I don't know everything about YouTube, but I actually have, like, I don't do things halfway. I try and study stuff. So B Gil, like, the reason why is because YouTube promotes live streams much more actively than just normal videos. I believe it's said that, like, there's 80 hours of content being uploaded to YouTube every second. There's literally more stuff being uploaded onto YouTube every day than could ever possibly be watched in that day. So YouTube's constantly struggling to try and give you guys like what you're wanting to watch and recommending you stuff. However, live streaming is not as common. It's becoming a lot more common because of the success rate. So I imagine it'll become oversaturated pretty soon too. But live streams get higher promoted. So there's more likely that somebody's going to wander into this group and listen to my rambling that's never found my channel before. And so channels tend to find success that way, especially if they have a very charismatic personality behind the camera. I think I'm decent because I can talk very clearly and I don't usually have to stumble over my words. I don't have a lot of dead air. I'm very lucky that I've taken classes on public speaking and I find it very natural. So that's probably the strength I'm going to have with a live stream, but I'm also not super crazy wacky and I have dumb like jokes and stuff, or I don't scream at the camera and get over emotional. So I doubt I'll find a ton, but you know, that's why people do it. Let's see, Cube Theorist, sup? That's a cool name. School Rule 2, Harry Potter beans. In case you missed it, like I said, they're based on the beans, but they're much worse. But the thing is, Harry Potter beans, you can look at them, you can kind of tell what they are. So you can tell, like, oh, this one's going to taste like barf. This one's going to taste like pepper. These ones, you can't tell. You put it in your mouth, that's the first time you find out if it's the good or bad flavor. Let's see. A trivia of Muv Love names, oh boy, like, yeah, that would be horrible. I would be slaughtering it. I try, man, I try. I've even, like, done cursory beginning studies of Japanese, trying to be better at that, but there's just, unless I can really start taking lessons, and especially unless I can start talking to people who actually know how to pronounce things in Japanese, I'm going to be terrible at it. So yeah, we might have to do like some kind of montage of just like the slaughtering I do of the Japanese language. I feel so bad. I'm so sorry. Any of you who happen to speak or are like native Japanese speakers, I apologize profusely. I try my hardest and it's not good. Let's see. School Rule 2, live is more important because it's only live now, not later. Yeah, I guess so. It does archive it. Like, you can actually look these up, but it also makes it harder to find live streams post live stream. It's like if you're not specifically looking like, oh, I missed the live stream on Saturday, I'm going to go watch it on Tuesday, you have to actively look for it. So that's one of the downsides. I could re-upload like edited versions of these, but so far I just haven't felt like that's something I need to worry about because it's not part of any running series I'm doing on my channel. Maybe I will if I start getting more interest in my live streams, but for now, I'm not sure if it's worth the energy. Alyssa Lee, more magical girls. I love magical girls stories. Like, not like the traditional, like, super flowery ones. I'm talking like Madoka Magica or what was the one that came out last year? It was like Magical Girl Training Academy or something. Like, it was like horrifically brutal. I love that the twist on the Magical Girl concept where they make it super horrific and super like tragic. Like, that's such a fun genre. Let's see. School Rule 2. Rick and Morty were in a band once. Want to see the video? Nah, it's okay. Big Gil. Italki is good for learning Japanese. There's tutors and community people you can do language exchange with for free. Use it for Chinese, or you can use Hello Talk to the people in the language. Yeah, that's the biggest thing I have with that one is I need a foundation to work off of. Like, right now, I'm pretty much at the like trying to rememorize hiragana, katakana, and some basic kanji. The nice thing is, oh, actually, I can show you. So I started with like, what was it? Was it Lingua Lift? I think it was like an online thing. And it was kind of nice. It definitely introduced me to the concept and got me excited about it. But over time, I realized it was going to milk me dry if it was going to charge me monthly, and it wasn't really teaching me as quickly as I really needed it to. And I also feel like it was being more of like, it was too flamboyant. It wasn't really like getting nitty gritty like I needed it to. So I got this. This is like the textbook that they typically use in universities, and it is designed for self-study. You have to be freaking dedicated, and I'm trying to be dedicated, but having a family and like a day life, I do all my recording and live streaming and stuff at night, and that's because that's when everyone's asleep. This is my only free time where I just have me time. This is when I used to play video games. Now I do YouTube. And sometimes play video games, but yeah, this is the Genki. Really fantastic so far, and it's getting me really excited. This was a Christmas present for myself. Like, I picked it out, and so my wife technically got it for me, but I picked it out, so I got it for myself. And so I've just barely started. And I really want to do it. The big thing is I need to figure out a way to give it like at least 1 or 2 hours a day. Like, having the consistency is going to be my biggest struggle, because like having a family life gets crazy. You never know what's going to happen to you at a given day. But yeah, that's my baby right now. I got this, got the workbook. So like I'm just kind of going to work my way through that. As I get that foundation, I absolutely plan on using those types of apps and such, like you pointed out. Like where I can connect with other people, because like I'm gonna need all the help I can get, and so being able to connect with somebody who can actually give me real-time correction will be brilliant. I'm also hoping to reach out to some of the people on the Discord channel and hopefully talk to some of you, because I know some of you can speak Japanese, and maybe we can work on it together. Since you're already kind of familiar with me and I'm a little familiar with you, that might be easier for me, because approaching people I don't know, especially for a favor, is really like emotionally it's kind of terrifying. I might sound like I'm pretty like extroverted, but I'm actually pretty introverted. I just don't have trouble talking to people. I don't have trouble like getting myself out there. I just find it draining and terrifying in several ways. So those apps they're very intimidating for me, because I just need to do it. But I just need to do it. And if anything, if YouTube's taught me anything, it's that I can really do some impressive things if I just dedicate the time to it. So kind of like Alyssa said, Gil, it's a fun hobby to have. Just a little bit of day is good. Exactly. I just got to get into it. Let's see. Wait. So Gene, you said something. Oh, you're saying it's funny to like how I mispronounce names, kind of like the right mouse button. I'm glad you find that humorous, because it literally is like I'll just be like going through the story and it's suddenly like boop, here goes the menu. I'm like, why? It really is weird, because like I don't think I did that for the first like year of doing this, but now all of a sudden I do it all the time. And let's see, like so, and then Genie said, "Yep, what I do is turn everything that I have, like phone and computer, to Japanese. Learning any language for me is just work if I live the language." Yeah, honestly, that's part of the thing. Like, I bet you I could do great learning Japanese if I actually lived in Japan. like part of me, if I were single and didn't have family responsibilities, I honestly think I would be one of those crazy, stupid people who would actually go and try and live in Japan. But I would do it, honestly, because I don't want the opportunity to learn Japanese, like force myself into the culture, force myself to talk to people who speak the language. It would really help me. And it would also be very motivating for me to be able to study it, because I'm literally like, I need to eat at some point. Like help me know how to read. And I need to be able to ask for a cheeseburger or some sushi or something. But that aside, I don't think it's not that I don't think I'll ever learn Japanese, and it's mostly just for fun. I honestly think the biggest motivation came from, once again, my fact that I can't pronounce Japanese names to save my life. I felt so embarrassed when I first started and people pointed out like how badly I was saying them. And I was like, I need to fix this. And so I started learning a little bit Japanese, and then it just kind of bit me like a bug. I was just like, oh my gosh, this could be a really fun thing to do. And so I've started doing it. Anyway, I've rambled so long. Thank you guys for being around, sticking around this long. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. As always, it's a pleasure. You guys, you make my life so fun. And I don't know, I'm just humbled. I'm humbled that I get to do this and that you guys are actually enjoying it. I'm also I'm also appreciative of the fact that like I get to kind of share a passion I have, and that there are so many of us that share that passion, because it sometimes feels like that there's no one to talk to about this stuff. And so I'm glad we can start building a community and we're getting together and we have these conversations. Big Gil, thanks. Glad you love my videos. Thank you so much. Yeah, school rules Z2. Try to sleep and hope the power doesn't go out because we're gonna freeze. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. I hope to see you guys again soon. Look for my video Monday, Muff Love Monday, Crystalline Wednesday, and Shusotsu on Fridays. And yeah, look for future videos and stuff to come out and just more exciting stuff to do. I look forward to hearing your survey answers. But until the next video you're watching me or whatever to see me in next, I'll see you there. But I can't edit out this part, so now I'm going to go over here and click the button. But thank you guys once again. I'll see you guys later.